Okay, welcome everyone. It is 6 p.m. on March 11th, 2024. I'm going to call this regular meeting of El Campo City Council to order. We have everyone present but one, so we do have a quorum. Councilman Hancock is absent at this point. Everyone would please stand for the pledges and the invocation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Father in heaven, we thank you for the opportunity to represent the citizens of El Campo this evening. Thank you for the citizen. Thank you for this city. Thank you for the city employees. Thank you for the citizens of this town. Father, I ask that you be with everyone, be with this council as we deliberate the agenda tonight. Help us make the best decisions as you would see fit. In your name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, item 4, public comments. At this time, any person with city-related business not scheduled on the agenda may speak to the city council. In compliance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, the city council is limited to making a statement of specific factual information in response to the inquiry or citing existing policy, but may not discuss, deliberate, or take any action on any item. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes. The issue may be placed on a future agenda for consideration. And I'll start out. Mr. Huggins?
Yes, sir.
You'll take the mic, please.
Do I now?
You'll go to the microphone, please.
Right here.
Oh,
Give your name and address.
yeah. Patrick Huggins, 1808 Broader Lane.
Okay.
I want to talk to you about my trailer. Y'all want to be y'all got some crazy ideas about them trailers. I had my trailer. The trailer's been parked in that spot there for 13 years, and y'all want me to move it. Then if I move it, they want me to put it in. I can't put it in my driveway. But y'all wanted me to put it on the side of my house all the way back. Don't make no sense. That ain't right what y'all trying to do.
Again, we're not allowed to discuss. This is not an agenda item for discussion. So we can only listen to you. We can't discuss the situation with you.
Well,
You'll need to visit with staff about that.
I'm telling you, that's what I'm telling you. It's not right what you're doing.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Next, Councilman David Hodges.
David Hodges, 1005 College Street. I'd like to speak to the council, city secretary, or anybody to please remember the fire department fundraiser is on usually the second Monday. It wouldn't take hardly anything to change our meeting to Tuesday. And it's probably not only the fire department fundraiser that I'm talking about, it'd be the Chamber of Commerce crawfish boil is also a conflict with us a lot of times. I think there's a lot of people in this room and a lot of people at this table that would a whole lot rather be at that fire department fundraiser visiting with the citizens right now. And just keep it in mind for next year because I'm 71 years old. I don't remember stuff like that till I get the tickets in the mail. So second Tuesday of March, let's not do this at city council anymore. Let's move ours one day afterwards if everybody agrees with that. That's all.
Okay, thank you, David.
Thank you, David.
Item 5, consent agenda. We have 2 items. The first is approval of City Council and City Development Corporation joint workshop minutes. We met on February 26, 2024. The second item is approval of City Council regular meeting minutes of February 26, 2024. Someone like to make a motion?
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Motion by Councilman Barker. Is there a second?
Second that.
second by Councilman Koblenz. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion to approve the consent agenda, please raise your right hand. Motion passes unanimously. Item 6.1, Resolution R 2024-11, authorizing the submission of an Operation Lone Star grant application and authorizing the city manager to be the official representative in all matters pertaining to the city's participation in the Operation Lone Star grant program.
This is another application for a grant with no match. Previously, we have been recipients of the Operation Lone Star Grant program. That is how we have funded some of the activities going on the highway interdiction unit and the like, and as well as the new K-9. This application is for $250,643. It mainly funds software and training. Chief, I don't know if you want to elaborate on anything else covered in here. Chief Margarell will be happy to answer any questions you might have with regard to this grant and what we intend to use the funds for. And Chief, feel free to add on to my very brief description.
The issues with this grant is we have the flock cameras. We purchased those with the prior funding. We have 8 of them. And the cost per year on those is $2,000 each. That was covered for 2 years in the grant. So we're looking to the future. Beginning in the 3rd year, it's going to be $3,000 a year per camera. So those costs we got with them, and they gave us a bid to give us another 5 years. So if we get this funding from the state, we won't have to worry about funding flock cameras until 2030. So that's the flock camera part. The other part is Cellbrite, which is what we use to get data from cell phones on criminal cases. And we have that currently, and we have a contract with them. This would also would extend that contract so that we won't have to worry about paying for that part of it for all the way until 2033, actually. They gave us a bid for that. We had to talk with them to try to get a bid on the price today. So that would cover us all the way through there. And in addition, Cellbrite is pretty high-end software. We have people, we can actually do the download per se, but we can't testify. We have to get a certified examiner. This would also allow us to get training to where we would be actually certified examiners in it, and then we could do our own testimony in court on it. And it would also give us the ability to continue unlocking phones. That's a big issue. People have their phones locked, and so this software provides us that ability to continue it. We have it already, but we use it. We looked at it and said, let's try to get this funded for more years. So I think this will be a good opportunity. If they give us this money, then we don't have to come back to you and say, hey, for us to continue this, we're going to have this amount of funding per year. Because each one of them would cost a considerable amount of money per year without the grant funds.
Chief, do you have to have a search warrant to utilize Cellbrite?
We do, yes.
And would you briefly explain the benefit of the flock cameras?
Well, I can tell you one recent example. We had a couple of aggravated robberies here in El Campo, and we identified a vehicle, and through the flock cameras, we found that vehicle in Wharton. It wasn't our actual flock camera, but it was part of the system. So this is kind of a multiplier effect. That's why we were able to get on this grant, because it's all about really not just here, but the region and the whole state. Flock cameras go throughout the United States. So by being part of that, it's not just what we capture here. We also have the ability then, if this vehicle happened to be identified and we knew the person was in Wharton, we ended up making an arrest on it based, not totally on that, but a big part of it was we could actually identify, hey, that vehicle was here at this time. So that's kind of one of the things. It's going to be difficult sometimes to say, well, what did you actually, like right here in town, did we catch something with a camera? We may not always do that, but where it becomes valuable is when we get a vehicle identified, people have to drive, and they go different places, and then they forget, they might be real careful here in town, but then they get out of town and they drive past one of these cameras, and as long as if we put the license plate in there, it dings, and it'll tell us this plate was spotted. It could be in Georgia, throughout all the United States. So that's one of the big benefits of that particular system.
Flock's a nationwide program.
Yes.
Chief, this is off the wall question, but given the cost of Celebrate, is there a lot of law enforcement agencies that don't have it, that this service?
Most don't.
So
In
is there an
fact,
opportunity to hire this? I mean, could we take in somebody else's phone and charge them? a
part
fee?
of what we do, because when we got the grant, we agreed to be a regional asset. So as an example, in 2023, we did phone unlocks and extraction for Matagorda County Sheriff's Office, Wharton PD, Bay City PD, Wharton County Sheriff's Office, just to name a few. So we do take them in for them. It doesn't cost us per se each time we use it. We have, because of the program we have unlimited extractions. Now, unlocks are a little different. There is a limit to the number we can do, but as of last year, we did 14 unlocks. So that meant those we had to actually use the software to get into the phone.
Are we at least reimbursed for our time at all? Is any money exchange?
Generally speaking, we don't do that. Now I will say this is one of the things that we look to the future also is if we don't get state funding on this, then we would look at a charge basis. The alternative to this is today, if we didn't have this Cellbrite for our cases, we would generally either have to find someone else with Cellbrite or go to it's a regional forensic lab in Harris County. The problem with those is it takes, if you were very lucky, you might get it back in 8 months, but generally you won't get them back for almost a year. We've had some cases before we had this. The nearest examiner is why I'd like to get some people trained to be an examiner. The nearest examiner we have is in Victoria. So if we ever had to go to trial on it, then we'll have to get them to come in and also look at the data. So we're trying to have probably a Cadillac service and let the state grant pay for it as much as we can. I don't know if we could afford it on our own. We'd have to really seriously consider it. We could probably afford just the baseline software, but it's kind of like all softwares. They get you in with the baseline, but then to do anything special, you got to have the upgrades.
Sure.
And this is all the upgrades is what we're paying for out of this grant.
Thank you. Mayor,
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Kelly, you mind scrolling up just a hair? I move to approve resolution 2024-11 as presented.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion by Councilman Barger, second by Councilman Ward. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor of approving Resolution R 2024-11, authorizing the submission of an Operation Lone Star grant application and authorizing the city manager to be the official representative in all matters pertaining to the city's participation in the Operation Lone Star grant program. Please raise your right hand. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Item 6.1, purchase of Etnier, how do you say that?
That's correct.
Purchase of Etnier chip spreader in the amount of $346,410 and financing through First State Bank of Louise at a 5.25% fixed interest rate for 10 years.
Let me attempt to tee this up. Earlier this year, we started working on a list of all of our equipment and a planning mechanism for replacement. Unfortunately, this chip spreader, which is well over 25 years, is spitting out rock so badly that on Sandy Corner Road, we had to go back over it with a street sweeper to collect the extra rock. I mean, it's on life support. So this was one of the machines that we identified early on as the list. The good news is we're asking for you to pay for this out of the Transportation User Fee Fund, which means we're not asking you to use excess sales tax as is been our habit, but we're paying for it out of the Transportation User Fee. The rates are high. I have already been asked if we would consider refinancing this thing as the rates drop, and the answer to that is absolutely, if we're able to. But we've set this up for 10 years. We believe the life of this equipment is longer than 10 years, and Kevin will be happy to answer any questions you may have regarding this piece of equipment.
I have a question.
Absolutely.
It's
it's simple. I just don't understand the line item. What is a manufacturer materials surcharge for $24,959?
That's something I'd have to ask RB Everett on that. It's usually what they do is they do the same thing on their asphalt distributor, and they bring it into them and they put it together. Maybe that's the same thing. That's something I'd have to ask them.
I was just curious.
May say on here, but would be the delivery date?
They have it in stock right now, so I'm hoping to get it within the next week or so.
Is there any training involved with our staff?
No, we have an Etnire, and it's almost the same exact setup, better pintle hitch, so it does connect and not let loose of the trucks. So it'll be
So it'll save
Seamless.
time and money.
very much so.
Any
Plus
other-
materials.
Any other questions of Kevin? Someone like to make a motion?
Mayor, I'll make a motion, we purchase the Etnar chip spreader for $346,410 at a 5.25% with First Financial Bank,
State Bank.
First State Bank, okay.
Please.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, motion by Councilman Hodges, second by Councilman Barger. Any other discussion?
I have a question. Kaylee, can you scroll down to First State Bank's proposal, please? Their bid sheet. So on some of the other bids, one of the, I think it was First Financial, they were proposing to take a lien on the tax base. Do we know if First State's just gonna take a UCC on the equipment?
How do they typically handle that, Brittany? Ronnie might be better able to answer that question than I.
On the chip spreader, the tax.
First Financial was asking for a lien on the tax. I'd like to give them a lien just on the chip spreader itself.
That's all will be done.
Okay.
Why are we purchasing this piece of equipment instead of renting it when we need it or borrowing it from, say, Wharton County? It seems like we've invested about $1 million in equipment, cause this will be almost $450,000 once interest is paid. So we've, in, the, whatever you call the machine that tears up the road or whatever.
Zipper.
The zipper, there you go. So we spent almost $1 million on this equipment. Wouldn't it be physically responsible to either outsource it or to rent it or share it with someone?
Well, sharing is a difficult thing because when we need it, somebody else would need it. Renting is also one of those things where we get a reclamation together. We like to get it chip spread as soon as we're done with it. And if you set it up for rental, if somebody has it, it's really hard to get one in when you need it. Same thing with chip spreading roads. When we have our materials ready, we can level up a road and go ahead and chip seal it and then move on to the next one without having to worry about getting them all done and making a mess and taking workforce away from other little projects. This has worked well for us in the past. It's highly efficient for us.
Any other questions? Okay. Somebody would like to make a motion?
We already have one
Oh,
from Mr. Hodges.
Hodges and Barger, I'm
Yes, sir.
sorry. Okay, all in favor of the motion to approve purchase of the Etnier chip spreader in the amount of $346,410 with 5.25% fixed interest rate for 10 years through the First State Bank of Louise, please raise your right hand. All against. Motion passes 5-1. Okay, item 6.3, farmer's market fee waiver request.
And this item is in front of you again. It was at the last council meeting. You directed staff to look into this, and unfortunately, Crystal Hasselmeyer is not available tonight, so hopefully I do her some justice on this. What we have in front of you tonight is a proposal for a long-term park agreement which would provide a waiver on the fees. You choose the terms, 6 months, a year, 3 months. And it would allow him to try out running this market with the agreement that's included in the packet. I'm happy to answer any questions. I know that Crystal visited extensively with Councilmember Ward and may be able to add more on this than I am providing at this time, but we can try to answer any questions you might have regarding this long-term park use agreement.
One thing I would add is that I think it was a separate item as far as the long-term use and also the fee waiver. I don't think it was inclusive. It was, the reasons, if I understood correctly, the long-term park uses to give him the opportunity to see how it goes, instead of doing it one time and then coming back again and again and keeping it in the permits. This was done as in place of a public-private partnership. I don't think we're ready for that right now, and I think it would have been rushing through to get something put in place quickly. So this, I think, is a good opportunity to give him an opportunity to see how the farmer's market will work. It's up to council as far as the waiver of the fees or whether we want to enter into this agreement. I think they're two separate. I guess you could do them together.
We included them together, but they could absolutely be separate motions, however council wants to handle this.
Because it's got it included right there.
Yes.
The fees in it. I don't have a problem with the long term. I would be hesitant to support a waiver of the fees just because I think it sets a precedent. If we waive one for one, we waive it for all.
I have some observations. They need to be made after a motion in a second.
I mean, yeah, does it affect the motion when you say observations?
My thoughts,
Oh, no, then, I think that has to be after the motion.
okay.
That's a discussion.
Well, would somebody like to make a motion?
Mayor, I make a motion, we approve the farmer's market fee waiver request.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilman Hodges. Is there a second?
I'll second it for the sake of discussion.
Second by Councilman Barger. Now, for discussion, I have some comments to make. I'm excited about the prospect of getting a farmer's market. However, in looking at the rates, Mr. Usenik, you would get the $100 deposit back, assuming everything is in good order. And I don't know what you would charge booths, other vendors.
Yeah.
It appears to me that probably 3 to 4 booths would cover the daily rental fee, and maybe 1 booth would cover the special use permit for alcohol. So maybe 5 booths to cover the fees, and after that, there would be profit. And you said that the profit would go to youth organizations. What organizations? Secondly, there's no way for the city to monitor income and expense, and it's really not the city's business to do so unless we waive fees based on the charitable contributions. Then it would become our business, I think. Thirdly, I'd rather see Mr. Usenik pay the fees and keep his profit. After all, it will be a lot of work on his part to recruit vendors and to run a successful farmer's market. Those are my thoughts. Any other comments?
Would you like him to address them? Questions?
What's that?
Would you like him to address
He
them?
can. Would you like to address my question? Okay. You want me to repeat them?
One of them that you said, sir, was the charitable cause. It's gonna go to the kids that help with the farmer's market. I'm not pocketing any of the money, period, is zero. It's gonna go set up to an account at one of the banks here in El Campo, and at the end of the year, it will administer to scholarships, but will also be used for paying the city to rent the parks out. I mean, if it gets humongous, like I was talking to Crystal, I might have to move it to a different park, which was the one that she recommended would be Alamo. I'm hoping it's a great success because it's also bringing more people into El Campo to do their outings, to shop, because I go to a lot of farmers markets. I deal with Ganado and I was dealing with Shiner, but Shiner closed theirs down completely because they quoted there was no money in it. There isn't. I'm doing this to give back to the community and basically the kids. Because there's some kids that don't get scholarships to go to college, and they'll just drop out if they don't see the to go. I was one of them.
If there's no money in it, how do you think you're gonna have enough to provide scholarships?
Well, for the vendors to pay basically a set fee, which is $25. Well, the remaining, whatever we don't pay the city for the parks eventually, to rent the park eventually, that's gonna go into that account where it gets distributed to whoever gets, get the scholarship. I'm gonna set goals and everything, like a budget, per se.
Okay, my other point was, I don't see, unless you just provided it, a way for the city to monitor your income and expense, so we would know how much. I mean, if we're gonna be donating something, we need to. be
Yeah, I
able
don't
to
have a
justify
problem
it.
doing that. That's no problem. I wouldn't know who to give it to the city, but I mean, I could give them a spreadsheet of everything that happens at each market, if you would like. That's no problem. I have no problem sharing that. I mean, I'm putting in a lot of work,
Well, that's what I was thinking too. As much work as it is, seems like you should
but I
be
want to
rewarded.
see how it goes first, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, that was, anyone else have any questions?
Mayor?
Yes, sir.
So my hat's off to you for wanting to do this, and I'm, like the mayor said, I'm excited about a farmer's market. But $75 fee?
Not 70.
Well, hang on.
Okay.
If you get all of your deposits back, it's a $75 fee. Am I correct on that? If there's no liquor, I mean, it could be $100 if there's a liquor,
Right,
okay?
correct.
Per event is not astronomical at all. And if you're testing the waters, would you want to enter into a one-year agreement to test waters? Is that what we're proposing here?
You could set that out however you wanted it to look. You could do a month, you could do 3 months. The form says a year, but you could clarify that in the motion, or amended motion at this point.
I'm looking at that if you have a successful farmer's market, which everybody would enjoy,
Yes, sir.
and you don't have to give and you get the deposits back every time, et cetera, it's about $900 a year. So in my way of thinking, the $900 a year is just basically you're not giving that much out for scholarships or for whatever. And I hear you saying something that if it goes good, then I'll pay park fees. I'm really confused about the business plan here. We don't even know how much the scholarships would be that you'd give out. Is it what increments? It's just confusing to me.
It would be, I'm following sort of like what Ganado has. They give out 500 scholarships, $500. Yes, sir.
Okay.
What they have set up in their account, and it's a small account. Robin was explaining to me she's the one that manages the farmer's market.
Okay.
someone apparently reached out to Robin, and I'm real good friends with Robin, to start a farmer's market in El Campo. And so she's helped me do a lot of legwork per se, but she doesn't come to this. This is something that she's put on me because she doesn't have time to stretch from Ganado, because it's almost like a 24/7. It's 40 hours a week job when you do it, when you look at it. Because you're trying to get with the vendors, you have to market it and make sure everything goes well to, to have a successful turnout. Because I'm going to start working with the newspaper and the radio station too, to get the word out. And the first one's supposed to be April the 6th, but there's no funds yet. So a lot of it's coming out of my pocket. And I want it to, turn out.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mayor,
Go ahead.
I move to amend Councilman Hodges' previous motion to state that I would move that the long-term use agreement is approved for 6 months and that the request for fee waiver is declined.
That might be too substantial of a change. We might need to see that first motion through, and then if y'all wanted to make a new motion after that, say if that first motion were to fail, we might need to address that first, but I think it would be changing it too substantially if we were changing it from to approve to fail or to disapprove.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so, just because it's kind of a reverse of the one presented.
Okay, so we need to vote on the motion on the floor.
Yes, sir.
And that's to approve the,
A vote was,
As presented.
and then if it fails, he can do a new motion.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
Okay. David, would you mind restating your motion?
Made a motion that we approve the farmer's market fee waiver request.
Okay. Was that all there was to that motion?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
As presented. That was it.
okay, okay. All in favor of approving that motion, please raise your right hand. Okay, all in favor of approving the motion, please raise your right hand. Okay, there being no votes, that motion fails. Councilman Barger, you want to make a second motion?
you have to go against as well, I believe.
Did nobody vote against at all?
He didn't call for
Well,
it.
he didn't ask.
Oh,
You have to call for it.
okay.
What do I have to do?
Call for the votes against.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You just do all
I'm
four.
sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay,
Just we got a clear
I
record.
just assumed, okay. All against the motion on the floor, please raise your right hand. Okay, the motion fails unanimously. Thank you, Madam Secretary.
Yes, sir.
Mayor?
Yes, sir.
I move to approve the long-term use agreement form with the exception of not to exceed 6 months and to decline the request of a fee waiver.
Okay, is there a second to that motion?
I second it.
Okay. Motion by Councilman Barger, second by Councilman Koblenz to approve the long-term, not reading the writing.
The
Was that-
long-term park lease agreement not to exceed 6 months
And to
and
decline
not
the
to include
request
the
of a
fee
fee waiver.
waiver. Yes, sir.
Okay. Any discussion?
Yeah, if we see this is working under this new motion and second, if we see this is working and it's bringing lots of people to El Campo, after 6 months, we can bring it back and maybe
I mean, if it's bringing income into town, maybe at that time we can bring it back and, knock off the fee.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, all in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Okay, item 7, reports. Section 3, policy updates and information for the city's Texas CDBG contract number 21-0053.
In the interest of time, and because I think the grease is hot at the Civic Center, I'm not gonna walk you through this presentation. This is required for the CDBG grant we have. It is another step we go through to secure these funds. You can see that this is for the sanitary sewer improvements on Corn Flats, Rice, and Cotton Street. We're just required to put this in front of you annually, not annually, as we receive these grants. If you have any questions about that, you can reach out to me or Renee on this Section 3 policy. It's just a report. I do not require any action on this item.
I don't know if you said it, that is a $350,000 grant.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good job, staff.
Thank you.
Item 7.2, the city manager's report.
Just two things. The downtown dinner is on March 19th. We have 12 food trucks coming into town. Several of them are local. And Catfish, Kidfish it's just called Kidfish now, is on March 23rd. So look out for that. You've got some flyers at your spot that reach.
Excuse me.
That's all I have tonight.
Okay, it is 6:38 p.m. We are going to go into closed session per Texas Local Government Code, Section 551.073, deliberation regarding prospective gift. So if everybody would please exit for a minute, you can leave or you can wait and come back. We shouldn't be long, but we might be.
They're gonna go in closed session.
Okay, it is 6:54 PM. We are going to leave the executive session and go back into open session. And we have exhausted the agenda for tonight, so this meeting is adjourned.
No action.
No action.
I'm sorry,
No
there was
action.
no action during, as a result of executive session.
What is that?
You're good.
Footrest? I noticed you looked.
Yeah.